Okay. So we begin our film in the middle of the 21st century at the farm of Joseph Cooper. He had to eject from a flight. Oh, there we go. That's a good one to start out. Coop is a former NASA test pilot and is having a nightmare. What's the quit? About a time he had to eject from a flight. Chris, thank you for the resub. How you doing? The farm and life ain't that great. All the wheat is gone to place, and there's massive storms throughout the entire world. Okay, that looks fine. There, good. How are you? Yeah, doing alright. The farm and life ain't that great. All the wheat is gone due to blights. We decided to play our worst game of the season. Then we oh no, do you guys lose? Damn. Lights, and there's massive dust storms throughout the entire world. Anyway, how are you? Good. Couldn't edit this yesterday because I was exhausted, so I'm doing it right now. Lost 2-0, but fair play. They scored 2 great goals. Coop also hates fun, but he has to do. Has to do, and he's incredibly good at it. Coop also hates farming, but it's what he has to do, and he's incredibly good at it. Donald and his 2 kids, Tom and Murph. He's a widow as his wife died an unspecified amount of time ago, and he incredibly good at it. He's a widow as his wife died an unspecified amount of time ago. Okay. Alan, hope you're doing good. Wolves beat Spurs 4-2. Wow. And he lives with his wife's father, Donald, as well as his 2 kids, Tom and Murph. Okay. So, Murph's also been scientific conclusion about it makes him
Actually, that scene kind of works.
Murph's also been complaining of a ghost in her room, so Coop encourages her to make reports on it.
I was gonna go back to where she actually talks about it, but this kind of works.
He takes the kids to school. After a quick pit stop to hijack a drone, he takes the kids to school. Pit stop to hijack a drone.
There we go.
After a quick pit stop to hijack a drone, he takes the kids to school. Predicting the future as they currently live in a post-truth society, and
Okay, I did that over.
thinking the moon landings were real. Turns out this movie's pretty good at predicting the future.
Okay, that's good.
Turns out this movie's pretty good at predicting the future because they currently live in a post-truth society. They live in a post truth society, and Murph has been reprimanded by her teachers for thinking that the moon landings were real.
Damn kids and their stories.
Brain damaged by their stupidity, who decided to get Murph suspended and take her to baseball investigation.
I need a good long shot of Coop. There we go.
Brain damaged by their stupidity, Coop decides to get Murph suspended
And
take her to a baseball game the next day. Storm approaches and they gotta head on home. This game is
okay, that's when the dust storm starts. Oops.
This game is cut short, unfortunately, as a massive dust storm approaches and they
That's a good shot.
gotta head on home.
Okay. Doing alright, Ryan. How are you?
she attributes to the ghost. And when they go up into her room, they see strange dust patterns forming, which she attributes to Turns out Murph didn't close her window, and when they go
Good multitasking here if you're watching the World Snooker Qualify. Oh, gotcha.
go up into her room, they see strange dust patterns forming, which she attributes to the ghost.
Could only be ghosts.
Coop stays up all night studying patterns, and turns out they hold GPS coordinates.
Right there.
Coop stays up all night studying these patterns, and turns out they hold GPS coordinates. Stood away in the truck, and she obviously got away. He initially heads to them alone. He initially heads to them alone, but Murph stowed away in the truck, and she obviously comes with him.
What's up, bro? How are you?
Bullets lead them to a secret fenced-off facility, but when they try to break in, they're captured. The thing that captured him was revealed to be giant as
Good, Misha. Yeah, doing good. Didn't get a chance to edit this yesterday, so doing it right now.
The coordinates lead them to a secret fenced-off facility, but when they try to break in, they're captured.
What you get for breaking into fenced off places?
The thing that captured him was revealed to be a giant. The thing that captured him was revealed to be a giant robot named Tars. Even meets Tars' handler, Dr. Amelia Brand. Turns out he used it different. Turns out he used it different. He then meets Tar's handler, Dr. Amelia Brandt.
I'll say, well, this is for my review channel, but the reaction videos are usually easier.
Turns out he used to know Professor Brand and NASA. Because she's his daughter. Turns out Coop used to know Professor Brand in NASA, and Amelia knows him too. Because she's his daughter.
Yep.
And as it happens, they are too. And as it happens, Professor Brand is there too. Because they're in a secret NASA.
Got a little bit ahead here.
Because they're in a secret NASA facility. NASA facility.
Yeah, right there. It's good.
And after describing the dust anomaly of them in Murph's room, which Murph attributes to gravity, Professor Brand or something else.
There.
And after describing the dust anomaly to them in Murph's room, which Murph attributes to gravity, Professor Brand decides to tell Coop what's going on. Professor Brand decides to tell Coop what's going on.
Who requested this one? Username did. Funny enough, I have not seen Username since December, I don't think.
Reveals that the Earth is dying, but we started dying out in the corner too, and the planet will become uninhabitable.
Can't remember if Username has any other requests. I should look. Let's see. Oh, he has 5. Really? What else he requested? Oh, right. He requested that, Mr. Bates versus the post office thing. Yeah. That's right.
He reveals to Coop that the Earth is dying and dying fast. A week it's already died out, and eventually the corn will too, and the planet will become uninhabitable.
After I watch it some point, it's a hell of a film.
A is doing a wormhole that opened up outside Saturn 48 years ago, where they determined new habitable planets. Planet A is
I think I redid this.
outside Saturn 48 years ago. Planet A is going through a war. He's already sent some people through there. Planet A, they have a plan. Oh, two plans, actually.
That's what I was forgetting. I was like, there's no way I didn't mention that. Watch me. Yeah, I know it's based off a true story. That's all I know about it, though. I'll have to wait till I see it.
Luckily, they have a plan. Well, two plans, actually. There apparently have discovered habitable planets. Apparently, a wormhole opened up outside Saturn 48 years ago, and they've already sent some people who have found habitable planets. Plan A is to get
Jimbo, how are you?
plans, actually. So apparently, a wormhole opened up outside Saturn 48 years ago, and they've already sent some people through there who have found habitable planets.
Good, yeah, doing good.
A is go there, recover the data. Plan A is go there. The data. Plan A is to go to one of the planets. Plan A is to go there, recover those scientists and their data, and then find a way to bring humanity over to one of the planets. Species on a habitable planet. Plan B, they don't have enough fuel to come back. Use embryos to create whole Plan B, if they don't have enough fuel to come back,
Okay, where is it? She shows them the embryos. It's right here.
is to use embryos to create a whole new human species. Plan B, if they don't have enough
Oh, I did it again.
embryos to create a whole new human species. Plan B, if they don't have enough fuel to come back, is to use embryos to create a whole new human species. Human species.
Oh, 4 minutes in? I can only imagine how long this one's going to be. It's a long film, though.
time, and they need him to pilot this thing into the world. As for why they need Coop, well, he was the blue. As for why they need Coop, well, he was the most talented NASA pilot of his time.
Michael Caine was really good in this.
And they need him to pilot this thing into the wormhole. Unlock the solution to gravity. Promises he'll have done by the time they get back. Unlock the solution to gravity. It's done by the time they get back. By the time they get back. Wormhole. But how would they bring humanity over there? Well, first the professor needs to unlock the solution to gravity, which he promises he'll have done by the time they get back.
He super promises, guys, don't worry.
Coop agrees to go on a mission, and Murph is furious about this and refuses to. Coop agrees to go on the mission, and Murph is furious about this and refuses to talk to him. So they can sync up and be on the same time. The next day, Coop tries to say goodbye to Murph and gives her a watch so they can sync up and be on the same time.
I really wasted no time with him leaving and shit, too. It was like, bam, he gone. That's what I need.
The next day, Coop tries to say goodbye to Murph and even give.
There's the watch.
Gives her a watch so they can sync up and be on the same time.
Darkseid, how are you?
When it's back, if at all. However, they don't leave on a good.
Doing good things, how are you? Yeah, doing good.
However, they don't leave on a good note because he's unable to tell her. When he's coming back, if at all. Buster off. They go off into space with a team of technically 5.
Smashing knives for everyone. Nice, how much time elapsed? 17 minutes-ish. 17 minutes in or 17 minutes left? Left? Oh, okay, I was gonna say. I was like 3-1, 17 minutes in. It's crazy.
Romley and Doyle, and the robot Tars. And thus are off with a team of technically fine. If at all. And thus they're off with a team of technically 5. Coop, Amelia Brand, 2 oversized. Coop, Amelia Brand, 2 other scientists named Romley and Doyle, and the robot Tars. Coop, Amelia Brand, 2 other scientists named Romley and Doyle, and the robot Tars.
That's perfect. Where are United in the table now? Like 14?
Their initial lander takes them to a bigger space.
They're after Zion Suzuki? Well, that's a fantastic name.
Which they'll use to get into Mars. No. Use to get into the wormhole.
They are 14th? Okay, well. Jeez. I know Spurs aren't doing so hot either, but surely Spurs are above them, yeah? They can't be lower than 14th. Are they 15th? Really? Are they doing that terrible? Fuck. I didn't think they were that bad.
Their initial spacecraft takes them to a bigger spacecraft called the Endurance, which they'll use to get into the wormhole. Their initial spacecraft takes them to a
15 with a plus 11 goal difference compared to men using... Jeez.
to a bigger spacecraft called the Endurance, which they'll use to get into the wormhole. To get into the wormhole.
Do Spurs just like... Do they like... Is it just like... Is it like just sun and that's it? Is that like all they have now?
All a sniper bot in case.
It's not get bad. I mean, it was obvious Kane leaving was gonna hurt, but I mean, fuck, 15th.
On the Endurance, they also gain a second robot named Case.
These up front just suck at the back. Well, it's not always a bad quality. What's up, Yoshi? Hmm. You're doing much better now? That's good. I think I missed where I got Case. Spurs like, yeah, the Wolves, I heard. Is that Case? Yeah. There we go.
On the Endurance, they also gain a second robot named Case.
There we go. Any excuse to lose weight.
So they go into cryosleep to speed up the process. The journey to the wormhole will take them 2 years. So
I think I was clarifying that time. 17th in the form table in the last 6 games, yikes. Oh.
the journey to the wormhole will take them 2 years. So they go into cryosleep to speed up the process. Speed up the process. Unfortunately, nothing from Earth. 2 years later, Coop. Unfortunately, nothing from Earth.
Buffy Knight and Spurs fighting yearly, but above Druid last game. Yeah, didn't somebody say, I can't remember who it was, somebody said the other day, I think, like they both have to win to even qualify for Europe next year?
Nick for the wormhole successful. 2 years later, Coop.
Oh, whoops. I went to footage.
2 years later, Coop wakes up to messages from Donald and Tom, but unfortunately, nothing from Murph. Well, it's time here's up, and they slingshot their way into the wormhole. And during the journey, something reaches out to band.
I think I redid this.
Something I forgot to mention about this wormhole. They believe that apparently it was open, and as they slingshot their way, something I forgot to. Something I forgot to mention about this wormhole. They believe that apparently Murph. Something I forgot to mention about this wormhole. They believe that apparently it was opened by some sort of other life.
That's a good shot.
And as they slingshot their way through it, something reaches out and touches the hand of Brand.
Brand hand.
Which she believes is first contact with them.
Okay. What are you eating? Breakfast sandwich.
They make it for the wormhole successfully and then have to pick what planet to go to. They make it for the wormhole successfully and then have to pick what planet to go to. Ow. And one by Dr. Mann. Discovered by Miller, one by Edmonds, and one by Mann. There are three planets. There are three. There are three to choose from. One discovered by a Miller, one by Edmonds, and one by Mann. And 1 hour. Miller's planet is the closest, but there's a problem. Time is a very diluted.
Go there. Whips.
Miller's planet is the closest, but there's a problem. Time is severely diluted there, and 1 hour.
There.
On that planet could result in 7 years in Earth time.
End up being a little bit more than that. How are you, Ab? Very secret. Good about you? Yeah, doing alright.
Runway stays back on the Endurance while Brandon and Doyle take the lander on Miller's planet. Romley stays back on the Endurance while Coop, Brand, and Doyle take a lander down to Miller's planet. It's pretty much all water, and they can't find her, but they do have her data. They can't discover her planet is the
There we go.
They discover her planet is pretty much all water. And they can't find her, but they do find her data.
Go there.
and they can't find her, but they do find her data.
There we go.
Coop notices that this planet not only full of water, it's full of massive tidal waves, and there's one Coop notices that this planet's not only full of water, it's full of massive tidal waves, and there's one coming right their way.
For 6 minutes now.
Brandon's going to get the data though and puts them at rest to do it, which causes Coop to send case out to retriever. Brandon's determined to
And to fair to go nice.
Brandon's determined to get the data though and puts them at rest to do it. Causes Coop to send Coop case out there to retrieve her. Which causes Coop to send Case out there to retrieve her. She gets back to Lander safely, but Doyle is not She gets back in Lander safely, but Doyle is not able to. As they're closing the door, he's swept away by a giant tidal wave. Which also completely waterlogged. Which also completely waterlogs the lander. The lander takes almost an hour to dry out. The lander takes almost an hour they're able to escape the world before they're consumed by another tidal wave. Lander takes almost an hour to dry out, and they're able to escape the planet just before they're consumed by another tidal wave. escape the planet just before they're consumed by another tidal wave. Three years. They arrive back at the They arrive back at the Endurance. They arrive back at the Endurance and meet Romley, who reveals to them that they've been gone for 23 years.
It sold 13K. That's pretty good. They still got a lot of time. Was it July? I mean, shit. May, June, July. So they got 3 months to. 3 months, yeah. Can fill 40K for baseball. Well, they weren't doing that in America. I mean, but yeah, it's a relatively new stadium. It's opened in 2020, I think. Yeah. So hilariously, the first ever baseball, because it opened in 2020, the first ever baseball game played in there didn't have any people in it.
Coupland goes through all the messages he can send from Tom in that time. Initially, it starts Coupland goes through all the messages he's been sent from Tom.
Maybe a decent amount looks good on TV. People say around 20K mark. Probably, yeah. Can't believe that was 5 years. Yeah, for real.
Coupland goes through all the messages he's been sent from Tom in that time. Coupland goes through all the messages he's been sent from Tom in that time.
God, you little bastard. I don't get that bug that's been flying around here for like the last 30 minutes. Be right back. I think it as a card is good. Yeah, I mean, they're probably. It looks like they're gonna run Okada and Omega again. That's the one I know of. As empty performance center shows there, Grimlock. Yeah, When the only fan was the ceiling fan? That's crazy.
Married and has a son named Jim. Initially, it starts promising as Tom gets married and has a son named Jesse.
He made the first one memorable at least. Oh yeah, that was when he was on commentary and he was doing the camera work. That was fun.
Donald has passed away, and so has his son. However, in a later message, Tom reveals that Donald has passed away. Named Jesse. However, in a later message, Tom reveals that
Ryan take his water fit and spit.
Donald has passed away, and so has his son Jesse. He's told by his wife Lois to let him go, and that's exactly what he does. That was his last message. He's been told by his wife Lois to let Coop go. He's been told by his wife Lois to let Coop go.
What's up, Josh? Hope all's well. Yeah, doing alright.
And that's exactly what he does, as that was his last message. Today, because today her birthday, he's the same age. He had last message from adult Murph, who's saying her first one. He has one last message, though, from an adult Murph.
You see what decent last night? Chandler got done in and Volk looked himself again. Yeah, those later rounds in the Volk fight concern me a bit. Because he looked so good in the first, but then Lopez almost got him in the fourth, and I was like, oh fuck. Nothing controversial about those cards, though. Volk clearly won at least 3 rounds. It just didn't look like Lopez had a game plan, to be honest. And then, yeah, Chandler's done. Probably. And, Patty's the real deal. How about that? He definitely didn't look like it before, but he's developed a lot.
Who is sending her first one, because today is her birthday.
TNT cut real quick when they're pushing WrestleMania. Oof. They said no wrestling.
And she's the same age that Coop was when he left.
At 5 years, you no more. Yeah, I guess so. Don't remember what I was doing here.
It's revealed that Murph is now a
Might have gone to pee here or something.
It's revealed that Murph is now a scientist working at NASA. In fact, working closely with Professor Brand to try to solve the gravity equation. Which they still haven't solved yet. So to execute Plan A, they only have enough fuel to visit one more planet. Edmund's planet or Man's planet? Man's planet or Man's planet? And they take a vote.
Messi FC played tonight. Who are they playing?
So if they want to execute Plan A, they only have enough fuel to visit one more planet. Edmund's planet or Man's planet, and they take a vote.
Chicago away. You know, I'm actually. I wonder what the MLS table's looking like. They'd have two different conferences, I know. It's still early, though. Oh yeah, LA Galaxy is winless in their first 8 games. They have 3 draws and 5 losses. Oh, dude, anything here has TNT stuff. Wow.
Man's planet and Brand wants to go to Edmund's. But Coop reveals wrongly that he found out that Brand is at its
Playing knobs and buttons for real. That confused me at 2 conference system. It's pretty common in American sports. All major American sports leagues do that.
Coop wants to go to Man's planet and Brand wants to go to Edmund's. But Coop reveals Coop reveals to Romley that he found out that Brand is actually in love with Edmonds, and that's why she wants to go. He found out Brand is actually in love with Edmonds.
Here, additional knob, got him.
Lois noticed that. So Romley sides with Coop, and they go to Man's planet. Meanwhile, Murphy is back at the old house where Tom and their new son, Coop. Meanwhile, Tom still lives at the old house.
Oh, that TNT logo being a square, not PNG, if I had a background. Let me see. Is it? Yeah, I guess so.
Martha had left with Tom, who still lives at the old house with his move. He lives at the old farm. So Lois and his new son, Coop. Martha having lunch with Tom at the old farm. Man's planet. Meanwhile, Murph is having lunch with Tom, who still lives at the old farm with his wife Lois. And his new son, Coop. Murph notices that both Lois and Tom, though. Murph notices that both Lois and Lois, though, the dust storms getting worse. Murph notices though that both Coop Jr. and Lois have pretty bad coughs due to the dust storms getting worse. The dust storms getting worse. Murph notices
I think I redid that.
it's getting worse in the area. Storms getting worse in that area. gets called to go to the hospital, though, as Professor Brand is on his deathbed. And so the hospital
Guess I'm gonna see the Minecraft movies coming week. If multiple hours I won't get back. These are my membership card. Oh, you have a membership card? That's interesting. Why are you gonna see it? Just someone in your family want to see it, or morbid curiosity, or? Burns on day out. Yeah, fair enough.
She then gets a call to go to the hospital, though, as Professor Brand is on his deathbed. And there, before he dies, he revealed to her that the whole thing was young. Wait, what? And there, before he dies, he reveals to her that the whole thing was a sham. Wait, what? No more than what he already knows. Without shame. Yeah, he already solved gravity a long time ago and turned time ago and time ago and turns out he can't know more than what he already knows without data from a black hole. Which means he sent Coop and his own daughter He sent that they weren't going to come back. Which means he sent Coop and his own daughter into space. Knowing that they weren't going to come back.
And he does a little poem like an asshole and dies before answering our question.
Also, that there's no hope for humanity, as the only real plan was Plan B. And also that there's no hope for humanity, as the only real plan was Plan B. her if she.
My assert wife primary now started selling Krispy Kreme clothes. 15 Great British pounds net you Krispy Kreme pajama set. That's a crazy ass sentence.
Murph then sends a message to Bran telling her that her dad has died, but gets mad at the end of it and asks her if she knew.
What do I afraid done with that? Yeah, it sounds like a good deal.
Meanwhile, the Endurance crew set off lander to Man's planet, which they find.
Simon set just the bottoms, bruh.
Meanwhile, the Endurance crew set off on a lander to Man's planet, which they find is a whole ass ice planet.
You can get flip flops. The flip flops. Oh my god. Oh, it's not a bad price. Oh yeah, it just says pajama bottom. It shows the shirt, but I guess it's not. But you don't get the shirt. Oh, you can get a logo vest top though. Or a hoodie, bruh. It's just a white hoodie that says Krispy Kreme on it. Still afraid donuts, then alright. Okay.
Its planet. They open up Man's cryo chamber, which reveals he is still he tells him he's given up hope.
Matt Damon.
They open up Man's cryo chamber, which reveals he is still alive.
Matt Damon. They did Greg's Club, did they?
He tells them that he had given up hope, but there is some good news. He tells them that he had given up hope, but there is some good news. Apparently, he believes this planet to be habitable.
You know, this is kind of on the crew for believing him, though. I mean, they look at this giant ass ice planet, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we could totally live here." Like what?
Despite its appearance and harsh conditions, apparently do have conditions. It apparently does have a service. Despite its appearance and harsh conditions, it apparently does have a surface.
Ari, you should.
However, he's been unable to fully explore due to limited oxygen supply.
Oh, you did alright.
However, he's been unable to fully explore it due to limited oxygen supply. Tarzan translates that message from Murph, however, where she goes on a little bit more, revealing that the whole thing was a sham. Tarzan translates that message from Murph, however, where she goes on a little bit more, revealing that the whole thing was a sham. No, but turns out man knew. Sham. Bran swears to Coop that she Bran swears to Coop that she didn't know, but turns out man knew. Of
course, fucking Matt Damon knew. Be right back. Not Taffe317.
Who then decides that his job is done and he's going to go home? Coop then decides that his job is done and he's going to go home. Coop then decides that his job is done and he's going to go home on the Endurance while everyone else stays here to try to populate.
Oh, I did a more complete version of it.
Coop then decides that his job is done and he's going to go home on the Endurance. While everyone else stays here to try to populate this new planet. Before he goes, though, he's asked two things. One, Raleigh asks on his way back that so that Tars can collect data on it. Raleigh on the back that he dropped Tars in the hole so that Tars will.
There we go.
Before he goes, though, he's asked two things of him. One, Romley asks on his way back that he dropped Tars in the black hole so that Tars can collect data on it.
We're taking a pause here. I don't remember why.
Man also asked Cooper to come to the surface while Romley to unlock data from a man's about the planet. It's there, though. Man, as they're almost there, though.
Fuck.
As they're almost there, though. Man also asked Cooper to come with him to the surface while Romley tries to unlock the data from one of Man's old robots about the planet. Revealing to him, as they're almost there, though, as they're almost betrays Cooper, revealing to him that this one is not happy. Though, as they're almost there, the man betrays Cooper.
What's up, Scarl? How are you? Good, so yeah, doing good. Just trying to get this done.
As they're almost there, though, man. Murph and her betrays Cooper, revealing to him that this planet is not habitable after all. After all, he made it all up, and after all, he made it all up, and he needs
Better.
the endurance to get back home. Therefore, he's obviously going to kill Cooper, so Cooper can't take it. Therefore, he's obviously going to kill Cooper, so Cooper can't take it. Murph and her friend Getty have gone back farm, so they can do some examinations on both Lois and Murph Jr. Now, back on Earth, Getty, who's a doctor, go back on Murph and her friend Getty to Coop Jr.
Okay. I'm gonna have to pull the footage back. Well, back on Earth, Murph and her friend Getty, who's a doctor, go to the farm so Getty can examine both Lois and Coop Jr. I hit 10 minutes.
Punching them in the face and throwing them out. Getty tells Tom that their conditions are real bad. Getty tells Tom that their conditions are real bad and both Lois and Coop Jr. Getty tells Tom that their Getty tells Tom that their conditions are real bad and they need to leave. To which Tom responds by punching him in the face and throwing them out.
Logical response. smartest Midwesterner.
Meanwhile, man headbutts a hole in man makes a hole in Coop's spacesuit and leaves him to die. Meanwhile, man breaks the whole of Coop's spacesuit and leaves him to die.
Breaks the hole. That doesn't make any sense.
Before he does, though, he's able to
Breaks a hole.
Before he does, though,
I didn't do it again. All right, well, I'll have to do it again. Let's see.
Tom responds by punching him in the face and throwing them out.
Meanwhile, man headbutts a hole in
responds by punching him in the face and throwing them out.
Meanwhile, man headbutts and breaks Scoop's. Nah. Headbutts and breaks the mask of his spacesuit? I guess you call it a mask.
Tom responds by punching him in the face and throwing them out.
Meanwhile, let's see. Meanwhile, man headbutts Cooper, breaking a hole in the mask of his spacesuit.
Tom responds by punching him in the face and throwing them out.
Meanwhile, man headbutts Cooper, breaking a hole in the mask of his spacesuit, and leaves him to die. There we go.
Meanwhile, man headbutts punching him in the face and throwing them out.
Yeah,
meanwhile, man headbutts Cooper.
Okay.
Them out. Meanwhile, man headbutts Cooper, breaking a hole in the mask of his spacesuit. Leaves him to die. And leaves him to die.
I always have to mute when I record, but yeah, I just take my headphones out. I'm honestly surprised it works while I'm streaming, though. Because usually I can't connect my mic to other stuff while it's already connected to OBS. So I'm a little surprised it works.
He does, though. He's able to Coop is able to radio Brand to come and help him and take one of the landers to get there. The man also had one. Coop is able to radio Brand to come and help him and she takes one of the landers to get there. There's two landers because the Murph has gone back to the farm. Coop is able to radio Bran, though, to come and help him, and she takes one. One of the landers to get there. There's two landers because Man also had one. Back on Earth, Murph, who is still mad about having the farm, decides to burn Tom's house down. I believe a lot of people respond. Back on Earth, Murph, who is still mad about what happened on the farm, decides to burn Tom's crops down.
I think her friend in the car is like, what the fuck?
Which is a logical response.
And he's like, oh shit, she's crazy.
It turns out is actually a bomb, which explodes. Meanwhile, Romley is finally able to unlock that data, which turns out is actually a bomb, which explodes and kills him. Although Tar survives. Essentially, meanwhile, Romley is finally able to unlock that data, which turns out is actually a bomb. Which turns out is actually a bomb. Which explodes and kills him, although Tar survives.
Ours looks like the, what are those called? Those big things that protect the villagers of Minecraft, like the golems or whatever. That's what that running cycle animation reminds me of.
Back on Earth, Murph has gone back to the farm while Tom is distracted, essentially kidnap Lois and Goob Jr. and take them out of there. And take them out of there.
Again. Back on Earth, Murph has gone back to the farm while Tom is distracted. Distracted to essentially kidnap Lois and Coop Jr. and take them out of there. Back in space, man has taken the Overlander. Back in space, man has taken the Overlander, and he's going to try to hijack the while he's followed in the Overlander. Back in space, man has taken the Overlander, and he's going to try to hijack the Endurance. While he's followed in the Overlander by Coop and Brandt. While he's followed by Coop and Brandt. Over 11 minutes now. Going back to Earth again, Murph is going for her old room, but she notices something weird. She has the last one to see of her for just a little bit. She notices something weird with a watch. Going back to Earth again, Murph is going through her old room. But she notices something weird with the watch, and that's the last we're going to see of her for just a little bit. Backspace again, man locks on to the Endurance, but he's not locked on properly, and they try to warn him through the radio that if he back to space again, man locks on to the Endurance. But he's not locked on properly, and they try to warn him through the radio that if he opens the airlock, it'll implode and kill him. Can you guess what he does next? So naturally, he opens the airlock and it implodes and kills him.
Well, they're screwed now, right? Well, not necessarily, because Murphy's... Well, they're screwed now, right? In the history of politics. Kills him. Well, they're screwed now, right? Well, not necessarily, because Coop is the greatest pilot in the history of piloting. Being able to spin the lander to the exact same rotation somehow, and it's able to lock on. Somehow, and but other than everything's great. He's able to spin the lander to the exact same rotation of the Endurance, somehow. That's more the shot I was looking for. Lander to the exact same rotation of the Endurance, somehow. And so is their fuel supply, but other than that, everything's great. So is their fuel somehow, and it's able to lock on. Almost done with this. So my plan is, as after I finish this, I have to end stream because I have to render it and upload it, obviously, and then I'll be back on the main channel afterwards. After I complete this. The Endurance is cooked, and so is their fuel supply, but other than that, everything's great. So half the Endurance is cooked, and so is their fuel supply. But other than that, everything's great. Decide on a game for today? I don't know. I mean, I'm enjoying the three things I'm playing right now. Avowed's the only thing I didn't play yesterday, though. But I did log out of but at the same time I did stop Yakuza without finishing the chapter I was on. So I don't know. And of course in ESO I'm in the middle of a collection mission. So I've got valid reasons to play all three of them. So no, I guess I haven't decided.
I also think about playing that new game South of Midnight that just came out. That's on that's on uh Game Pass.
Except, they're actually getting sucked right towards that black hole I mentioned earlier.
Except, they're actually getting sucked. Pause it right there. End of review. They're getting sucked. Right towards that black hole I mentioned earlier.
Who decided to use that in his plan, however? They're going to slingshot using the black hole, which they call Gargantua, in order to chase and they Coop decides to use that. Coop decides to use that in his plan, however. They're going to slingshot it to the last planet.
I'm gonna do an image here, actually.
The last planet. I mentioned earlier. Coop decides to use that in his plan, however. They're going to slingshot using the black hole, which they call Gargantua. Gargantua in order to give them enough speed to get to the last planet. As they're slingshotting around it, they go through with that plan. As they're slingshotting around towards and there to collect data.
There we go. As they're slingshotting around it, they go through with Romney's
plan from earlier in the
With Romney's plan from earlier and drop Tarzan there to collect data. With Romney's plan from earlier and drop Tarzan there to collect data. Bye. 12 minutes now. What Brand doesn't know is that even without Tarzan, they still feel. However, what Brand doesn't know is that even without TARS, they still have too much weight. Himself. So Coop decides to shed himself. Whoa. Jetrick, thank you for the raid, bud. Appreciate it. Forgot that was a raid alert on here. Thought I had an alarm going off. I was like, when did I set an alarm on this computer? And protest, obviously, but it's too late, and Coop drops himself into the black hole. Need to wrestle a toddler? Nice. You're playing Pokemon Platinum? Nice. How was that? Brand protest, obviously, but it's too late, and Coop drops himself into the... Hey, yeah, good. Brand protests, obviously, but it's too late. Right there. And Coop drops himself into the black hole. While moving for black hole, Coop decides. While moving for black hole, Coop eventually. Taking that time, but we talked about at the beginning of the movie. It had to eject, so he ejects from his lander. Okay, I think that's. Whoops. While moving for the black hole, Coop eventually starts. The bush. Starts to hallucinate and ends up hallucinating about that time, but we talked about at the beginning of the movie, where he had to eject. So not just so, he ejects from his lander in the black hole. Which is always a good idea. And he actually falls into a tesseract. It's filled with bookshelves. There we go. And he eventually falls into a tesseract. You're gonna play Pokemon? Yeah, how was that? I love that game. It's probably my favorite one. Good, it's good. You doing a story or are you shiny hunting or what are you up to? That looks like it's filled with bookshelves?
Not just any bookshelves, though. The bookshelves in Murph's room.
Not gone to the first gym yet, but next room will got you. Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think it's like, I think you have to go for a couple towns first. Yeah, I think you have to go for a couple towns, and then you get to the town, and then you have to find the gym. Yeah, something like that. It's been a little bit, but...
Not just any bookshelves, though. The bookshelves in Murph's room. That Coop was Murph's ghost the entire time, as he sees flashbacks and reacts to them.
I think I redid that.
As he reacts to things that he sees through the past, falling off the shelf, just like they did. It's been revealed that Coop was Murph's ghost the entire time. The entire time. It's been revealed that Coop was Murph's ghost the entire time. The shelf, just like they did. Back on Earth, Murph is in her room in real time. And back on Earth, and in the present, Murph on Earth, and
Tom Brady's going to WrestleMania? Shit. That makes sense, actually. He owns the Raiders now. He's a partial owner of the Raiders. I forgot, they're in Vegas. That actually makes a ton of sense. It's in a Raiders stadium.
And as he reacts to things that he sees through the past, things fall off the shelf, just like they. And as he reacts to things that he sees through the past.
Guess he wants to play thousands for a ticket? No. They'll probably just let him in. He probably has his own box in that stadium. He might want to fight someone after today's result. Yeah, I'm sure he won't have too happy with it. I'm a Giants fan. Ugh.
They off the shelf, just like they did.
Things fall off the shelf just like they did.
In her room in real time. And back on Earth, and in the present, Murph is piecing this together in her room.
And back on Earth and in the present, Murph is piecing this together in her room.
Tar is also still alive. It's collected a lot of data. So, turns out Tar is also collected a lot of data on this tract.
Turns out TARS is also still alive and has collected a lot of data on this tesseract. Pitch wasn't good. Must have felt like you were watching a Jets game with the shitty turf then.
Cooper realizes that the Tesseract was constructed by humans in the far future, and it's gonna be Murph that sets it all.
Welcome back, Jimbo. That was toddler wrangling. Cooper realizes that this tesseract was constructed by humans. I want nice. In the far future, and it's gonna be Murph that sets that all off. Oh, gotcha, good. But he has to give her the data.
On wristwatch. So he uses Morse code through the he uses Morse code through the book to manipulate the hand on one wristwatch. So he uses Morse code through the book somehow. So he uses
Clever Dick, hosted by Ann Whitcomb. What the hell's that about? So he uses Morse code through the bookshelf to manipulate the hand on the wristwatch that show. And oh, I know who Ann Whitcomb is. I was wondering what it was about. That's called clever dicks. Ah, she can't have more than one. I get you.
That he gave her, which gives her the solution somehow. The Tesseract then implodes, and it leaves.
Oh, I've been on that wiki before. The UK Game Shows one.
Runs outside, hugs Tom, and stops.
One second. Ever do Naked Jungle? Dropbox reaction. Wait, so I know it's a different person, but I'm pretty sure her name is also Anne. What's the name of the woman who hosts The Weakest Link? Or at least she used to. Robinson? That sounds about right. Anne Robinson? Okay, yeah. Because when you said Anne was so robotic, that reminded me of that. Because Anne Robinson, The Weakest Link, was very robotic. But I guess that was the gimmick. The android, yeah. That was fun.
Tesseract then implodes, at least. Murph runs outside, hugs Tom, and sometime later. Murph runs outside. Tesseract then implodes, and it leaves. Tesseract then implodes.
Okay, I left that till after.
Tom, and sometimes Murph runs outside, hugs Tom, and sometimes later. Tom, and sometime later, solves the equation of gravity.
Just like that. She do be gravity solid. Meanwhile, fucking Eric from That 70 Show's got a crowbar in the background. Murph runs outside, hugs Tom, and in some even more robotic than in Robinson. Down. Sometime later, solves the equation to gravity. We're almost done here.
The Tesseract implodes on Coop and sends him spiraling in. Although someone appears to be coming toward him. The Tesseract then implodes on Coop. Flashbacks where it's revealed he was actually King. The Tesseract implodes. The Tesseract then implodes on Coop, and he's shown. The Tesseract then implodes on Coop. And he's shown more flashbacks where it's revealed he was actually also. And he's shown more flashbacks where it's revealed he was. He's now floating for space about to die.
Films, football, and fucking 2025 air fryers. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Was actually also the hand that reached out to Brand earlier. Air fryers, baby. Honestly, that sounds like an improvement to me. All that money they saved from maxing Big Brother spent well. Jesus. Even they didn't want anything to do with that fucking show. Channel 5. They're the same people that gave fucking Philip Schofield a show last year.
He's now floating for space, about to die, but there's something come towards him. And earlier. He's now floating through space, about to die, but there's something coming towards him.
I just like the dog show sometimes. Laura, hope you're doing good.
In the hospital, 51 years more in the future. He wakes up in a hospital 51 years more in the future.
Streams are good, appreciate it.
He then wakes up in a hospital 51 years more in the future.
Thank you for following. I remembered about that alert.
station which is orbiting Saturn that looks just like Earth. But not just any hospital, it's a hospital
That just shit me out.
on a space station which is orbiting Saturn that looks just like Earth. But not just any hospital, it's a hospital on a space station which is orbiting Saturn that looks just like Earth.
Except it's upside down.
Murph is apparently still alive, although they never mentioned Tom, so I'm guessing he's dead. And he told, well, apparently still alive, has, although they don't mention Tom, so I guess he's dead. Murph is also apparently still alive and coming to see him, although they don't mention Tom, so I guess he's dead.
Yeah, fuck Tom, I guess. This is definitely a bot. It was already obvious, but...
They built Cooper a replica of his old house, where he finds cars as well, and Cooper repairs them. They built Coop a replica of his old house, where he finds TARS there as well, and Coop repairs them.
Hit 14 minutes on this one. A Lost Scrap Heap Challenge UK versus Junkyard Wars US Specials. But really? Wow. Do you have a link to that? Let's see. I don't know why this is 11 gigs, but... Champions vs. Champion show. Nice. Gettysburg extended cut 271 minutes. 271 minutes. What does that equate to? 4 hours and 31 minutes. Fuck off. That's crazy.
Coop finally reunites with his house.
Films a miniseries and Ted Turner decided it needed to be a movie. Jesus. Longest reaction? I mean, yeah, it would be. I mean, I what is my record at the moment? It's got to be. It's got to be that Only Fools, Miami Twice. That was like 220, I think.
But damage. Coop then finally reunites with his daughter, who is on her deathbed, and has a huge family. Has a huge family. He wants to stay with her, but she tells him he shouldn't have to watch her die. Instead, he should do what he should.
Owner is 248 feet, spider less than 2 show gate because length. Dimension growth 12. That's honestly impressive. Kind of staple of classroom history lessons. Fucking hell, though. You'd have to watch that over the course of like 5 days. At least our here classes are usually like an hour.
He wants to stick with her, but she tells him that he shouldn't have to watch her die. And instead, he should do what he wants to do, which is go after Brandt. And Cook decides to do just that and hijacks a plane. And Coop decides to do just that and hijacks a plane.
That was technically a lander, but it's fine.
Edmund's dead. However, the planet is habitable, and she's starting to. The film ends revealing that Bran made it to Edmund's planet and found Edmund's dead. However, the planet is habitable.
This planet looks like fucking perfect too. That's a damn shame. She's just in Nevada. Maybe she'll find Neil Breen.
And she's starting the mission of repopulating humanity.
Breen.
Trip last week to this week. Last week, watching literally the worst film I've ever seen. And this week, actually,
Buddy, I mentioned at the beginning, but what a trip last week to this week. Last week, watching literally maybe the worst film I've ever seen. And this week, watching what has got to be one of the greatest sci-fi films of all time. But honestly, if I have If I have any knocks, my only knock on this film would be that the plot is a bit convoluted at times, but honestly, that's kind of just par for the course with sci fi films. Like, 2001 A Space Odyssey is one of the best films ever, and that movie's weird as hell. Yeah, it's undercutting it. The biggest compliment I can give this movie is that it is The biggest compliment I can give this movie is that it is a 3 hour movie that does not feel like it. It's again almost 3 hours. The credits aren't even that long, so taking away the credits, it's like maybe 2 hours 42 minutes, but it flies by, brother. Let me tell you, like you get really invested in it. Like it is somewhat confusing, but definitely not boring. The acting is great. The visuals, as we discussed, are fantastic. Honestly, I think the musical score is the best part about it, though. Like even greater than the visuals. The musical score is one of my favorites in any movie ever. Fucking genius. And you'll be unsurprised to learn that the score was done by Hans Zimmer, who is literally a fucking genius. Literally, though, I think he's actually like a certified genius. Fucking genius. That are essential for viewing. We're definitely gonna hit 16 minutes. Probably will hit 17. Yes, if he did he? This, obviously, in my opinion, has to be placed on that list of movies, my imaginary list of movies, that are essential for viewing. It might be long, but trust me, you won't think it's long after you've watched it, and it's just, it's unbelievable. This has got to be maybe a top five, if not top three, sci fi movie ever made, in my opinion. It's one of Christopher Nolan's greatest movies, which is really fucking saying something considering his catalog. And if you have for some reason not watched this, I would recommend watching this. Even if you've watched this look back and not watched it, because I can go for the plot. I can only do so much for you. You know, I always try to recommend that you still watch the movie, because I know the reason you might be watching this video is like, oh, I don't want to watch the movie, I just want to know what happens. Which, fair enough, brother. Honestly, that's what I'm here for. But at the same time, I can only tell you so much. Like, you really need to experience this one. Okay, I believe that's it. Ooh, I may have to put another music loop on. Let's see. So yeah, go watch Interstellar. I did and had a great time. And that is it for my look back of it. Thank you again, Username, for using your points on this. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I certainly did. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to leave it a like. If you didn't like it, don't. If you want to follow any of my social media links, are all in the video description, as well as names of all my patrons. Thank you to all my patrons for supporting me and my channels. I appreciate you guys. With all that being said, though, my name is Noah Taff. This has been my look back at... Ooh, just barely no. Interstellar, released in 2014, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Okay. That took me almost 3 hours. This is why I couldn't do this last night. My brain was way too cooked. I was like, no, it's not gonna happen. I said, I'm just gonna wake up and then do it then. Alright. So, funny enough, this stream will probably end up being longer than the main channel stream. I have no idea what we're gonna play on the main channel, but I'm gonna render this and upload it and brain damage. And I should be on in maybe like an hour, 70 minutes, something like that. So yeah, I will see you guys a little bit later. Bye, guys.